Do you think she needs a clean? If we just look around this side, it's very dirty. Look at all the shit that gets, all that needs clean. Yeah. I've literally, I think I've cleaned this bike once, maybe twice, I don't know, but what we're going to do, this, as I've said before, this is a Trek Madone. So in its heyday, it still kicks ass. It's the legs that does it. That you don't need a fancy £3 bike with disc brakes on it. It's bollocks, absolute bollocks. Hashtag Durian Rider, another woke person that talks about. That was quite nice, isn't it? Bit of grip tape there. It's quite improvised, you know. I like that. I like the rubbing on the metal. I quite like that. I like when see, that's the thing with the gravel bike. I bought it second hand, but it was in quite good nick. But then when I was using it on the gravel, all the gravel would fly up in it and it scratched the fucking. It literally looked like chunks are taken out of the metal. It's quite funny. This goes to show the punishment that bike takes, you know. A lot of servicing involved for gravel, obviously mountain biking as well. But with this bike, I've cleaned it twice, I think. But back in the day, this was a pretty top level bike. It still is. It still is a top level bike. That's the whole point. These people, I've talked about this before, get sucked into the marketing drivel that you need to spend £3 to go fast. Bullshit. Because hashtag, you know, I saw my Strava, right? See that? And this is related to the same point, right? The Langham loop, 70-mile loop. I noticed, see, the Strava it does this now, where it does a memory. 3 years ago, this is the ride that you did on this day, you know. And I'd posted up saying in the description. I've stopped doing so much description stuff. I just let the ride talk. I do videos. I occasionally do a wee spiel, but not as much as I used to, because what's the point? Because I've said quite a lot of stuff, right? So there's no need. But I think that's, again, why the show would be easy, because I've got so much going on in my brain. So much material. Singing, rapping, streaming content, motivation, talking, wisdom, talk, present. So it'd be quite easy. But that Langham loop, 70-miler, and I put in the description, I said this is the 18th time I've been round this route this year. I literally went round that 70-mile Langham loop 18 times in the 1 year. That's when the mileage was up to 8, 9, 10 grand a year. But this year it's only been 4,000 mile route. And I wasn't near it. But I think if we take a wider perspective, we're going off track, it's all the same stuff. We take a wider perspective, we go, this, I think what we can safely say, this year's been the fun year. Partying, travelling, yeah, taking time out, which I think, again, taking a wider perspective was actually necessary, but taking a wider perspective, you go, I would categorise this year as the fallow year, you know, before I kick ass, you know, because I've done 4,000 or 5,000, only did one hill climb, but what I was saying is, I mean, there's so much to talk, I mean, it might just be, it might seem boring, but, you know, that's what all these other YouTubers do, and I'm taking it seriously, I have taken it seriously, not as much this year, but again, taking time out is part of the taking it seriously, because you need rest, so fallow year, and maybe next year will be my best every year. I'm feeling it with this fallow year, you know, and then so the calendar, what you need is a year planner. You really need to do this, because like I was talking to the guy at the McDonald's last night, the guy that worked at Annan for 40 years, right? He's another kind of guy that just works all the time, that dude. And talking about stuff, just change of scene, go to McDonald's, sitting there to soak up the vibe doing it, but he was talking about, anyway. I think this year would be called the fallow year, and then next year's got to be kick-ass year, so you need to have the, I don't know who's online, probably either Tanya or Alex, so hi. So you need the calendar, you need the wall planner, and go, right, what are we attacking? You have to have a long-term plan. But as I was saying to that guy last night, the summer will be here before you know it, because he was talking about the football. He's going to see, he's going to see Scotland play, but I'll be playing. That's the point, and this is the point that, again, it's all, I do it Kilroy style, it's all in my head. I don't know what to be too regimental, write down, and you just learn, and you assimilate stuff you've learned, and you go, right, how do we, take it forward, but I've got the momentum, and I'm really fit, and it's November, it's crazy. I'm feeling really quite motivated, a bit like Andy Murray. He likes the adversity, he likes the crisis to, similar type of thing. I like it when I'm back against the wall. So this weather, ridiculous cold, I like the challenge. Not too much, I wouldn't know what to do 70, 100 mile in this. If I was wrapped up, if I had the glove liners and dressed up, I guess I would do it. Maybe that is the problem, maybe that is part of the problem. I haven't gone, there isn't a problem, but get out and do a few longer rides, because I've not been doing that. But anyway, 7th gear, let's stuck in 7th gear. That's quite a big gear, 50 by whatever, how many teeth that is, 13, 14, whatever it is. But grinding, staying in that gear, and I guess this is five days in a row of grinding. Like, you get to the hill, headwind, cold, chill, the incline, and you're grinding it up. You know, it's all creative, because you're taking the feedback from your body the whole time, having a conversation with your body the whole time, and you're going, oh, well, I'm grinding it, but I'm not grinding it to the point of that I was doing yesterday, grinding it really out of breath, and like I did up the bypass last night. This is, again, active rest. Wouldn't call it quite active rest, but bringing down the intensity to allow the body to recover. You know, you don't need to hammer it every day, but keeping it in that big gear and pushing out the big, pushing it, but training the strength side of it. So I think we'll be spinning tomorrow, nice and low gear, and spin to win. Let's go nice and easy. But anyway, that's not what I was going to be talking about. Just talk about anything. As I've said before, get mere conversation, talking to myself. That's why I'm not going to say too much. But so why don't we just talk about what we do to service the thing? Because what I was saying to Terry, we need to be servicing, cleaning it. It's the salt's on the road now, so it's bad for this now. It attacks the components, but I mean, the point is, all the components are replaceable anyway. Who cares, you know? Maybe the wheels, okay, the alloy wheels, what to look after them, even though they're not great wheels. The Fulcrums, I definitely wouldn't be taking the Fulcrums out in this weather. The Fulcrum racing wheels, they're nice wheels. I'll use those for racing, hill climbing, stuff like that. But this, we're gonna basically service it and hang it up on the wall, beautifully serviced. Maybe a new chain, it'll need a new big ring. The teeth on the small ring are not worn because I haven't used that much, but it needs a new front big ring, new chain, and clean out the jockey wheel, you know, cables, unscrewing, I think taking all the jockey wheels apart, cleaning them, taking all the wee bits and greasing it, putting it back together, taking all the cables out, taking the, interestingly, carbon seat post, quite cool. That's got a nice micro adjustability to it. I like this. Very dirty under there, but again, take the whole thing apart and clean it, oil it. That's what you do. Oil all the bolts. Anywhere where you've got contact between two different metals, you do it anyway. But moving parts, obviously, but metals of different two different metals that are in contact with each other, you want to oil them and grease them and all that because of the oxidization, you know, and all that. But I did the cones, cup and cone bearings in the wheels loose, so they rattle. If I was to, you might not be able to hear that, but the front as well, cup and cone bearings a little bit loose. Need, again, take it apart. Cup and cone spanners, take all individual bearings out, clean them, clean out the thing, re-grease it, put the bearings in individually, clean it all, screw the cup and cone on, tighten it so that it's hard to explain. I'd have to show it. It's not that exciting. I'm just doing this for a laugh, just to talk about it. Adjust it so that it's tight enough that there's no lateral play in it, but not too tight that it grinds the bearings. So there's a very sweet spot, happy medium, and that's what you've got to do with the cup and cone spanners. You've got to adjust it. You hold one in a certain position and you tighten the other one, and if you've tightened it too much, you have to loosen it off and try it again a little bit less. It's like to get the cut. But the other wheel, the Fulcrum racing wheels, have got, again, this might be just like, you could be sitting stoned there and just use your imagination. You might be bored, you might be in your lunch break or whatever, sit bored, watch this, Just, it's not like the most exciting thing in the world, but I'm just doing it for myself, right? As I've said before, right? So, okay, I mean, the Fulcrum racing wheels are not cup and cone bearings. They're cartridge bearings, which is where all the bearings are in a cage and they slot in, and there's no adjustability really. It just goes in and they spin lovely, and they're a lot easier to service. Easier in a certain sense, it can be awkward to get, especially free wheel. We've changed the free wheel bearing. I enlisted my brother to help me with that. That was quite awkward. That's changing free wheel hub bearings. That was quite, you got to know how to take the bearing out and put it in. You got to do it properly. Take your time, do it with patience, So do that, and then we'll also take out the seat post, clean it, grease it again. You don't have so much of a problem. You use carbon paste with this, but if you've got an alloy seat post, it used to be a problem with the old bikes, the steel bikes, the alloy seat post. If you didn't service it and grease it regularly and grease it, you would have the danger of the seat post getting seized in to the frame because of the oxidization between the steel and the aluminium, and it would seize shut. I actually had to go to Kirkpatrick's back in the day to get them to cut the thing out because it was stuck in. So you got to grease the seat post, but again, because it's carbon to carbon, that's not so much of a problem, but you still got to use carbon paste to help it grip it and protect the carbon, I suppose. What else? The cables are in an absolute state. Frayed cables, and the back caliper seizes because it's probably to do with the cable. And that's what I mean. Take the brakes and take it apart and clean it all. Toothbrush, oil, spray oil, make sure the calipers move nicely. Headset bearings. Those headset bearings are done. It's very grindy, and they're worn, need new. So again, lovely new bar tape as well, and then clean all the cables, new cables, and put new cables in, and then the tires in this, interestingly, again, if you look at that, the sidewalls of those tires, that tire there is starting to get a bit old. It's perist a little bit, starting to go, so that's the danger, that the sidewall fails, and then you get into issues, and you get anyway. But I was talking to the guy last night again about the cost of tyres. The GP 5000 racing tyres, 28, again similar size, that's 28mm. They are, I think they're about £70. The cost of Continental tyres has gone through the roof, absolutely crazy. But these are comparable. They're not bad compared. Might not have the same puncture protection, but they feel very similar, just as supple and good rolling resist. They feel just as fast. Again, spending £50 more on a tyre, you're not going to get an extra 80% or whatever, you know, in terms of performance. It's negligible gains, you know, related to the extra money you're paying. You're not getting the same level of improvement in performance. So these are only £20. Goodyear Eagle Sport, and again, like my brother was saying, Goodyear, they wouldn't put their name on it. They're a good tyre brand. The Goodyear Eagle Sport is a tyre that they use on the. It's named after the ones they use in motorsport in it. So they wouldn't put their name on it unless it was good. So you can still buy this for about £20, £22. So I will not be paying £70 for a tyre, especially when I'm not pro or amateur. I'm not even doing amateur racing. I'm only doing hill climbing on the road, really. It's more gravel that we're going to be concentrating on. I might talk about the gravel bike next time, and once I get that in there, but that's what we were saying before about like the state of the roads and everything. It's not very good cycling around on 28mm tyres. The risk you could fall off. You've got to be really careful. So the days of me, I used to do this all the time. I would, years ago, back in the day, and had little periods of getting quite heavily into it, but I would do ridiculous things like do 200-300 miles in the winter every week and upwards, and going out and to quote that thing, you know, the juice is the risk. I used to love the thrill of it. It was like that, wow, I feel really quite big like a man, wow, I braved it in those conditions and came back. You would feel like a superhero doing like some crazy long ride in ridiculous conditions. I would do all that, but now I'm going, well, I've earned my stripes, I don't need to do that. I'll save that for the spring when the weather's good. I know what I can do. I know I could, just because you know you can do something doesn't mean you have to do it. You know, self-care. Hello, I'm not going to wear myself down. Okay, most of the training this winter on the indoor. I'll probably do one long ride to keep it in, you know, but it's mostly in my head. To be quite honest, most of this shit is in my head now, in terms of, you would think that to keep the buzz and everything, you need the feeling of, yeah, I need the confidence that I can go out and do a 30-40 miler. Yeah, you do, but I won't be doing it the way I used to do it. I'll be doing it maybe once a week, do a long-ish one. I'll still be doing things like, I need to do like a ride to Glasgow or something like that, and do longer rides, you know, but I don't need to be doing that day in, day out. You can't do everything in this life, that's what I've discovered. Well, it's obvious anyway, you can't do everything. So you end up being shit at a lot of things instead of being really good at a few things, you know, so that's what I want to do, get really good at a few things. So this is good, kind of, this is actually helping me. I'll not be helping anyone else, but it's good for me. It's actually getting me into the mode of, talking about this is actually getting me into the mode of, again, notepad, service trek bike, service gravel bike, new tyres, get this one done and then hibernate it, get it all beautifully done, maybe buy a nice gold chain, put some lovely wax on it, have it hanging up, beautiful. It's all completely done, and then get the Carrera on the road and use the Carrera for the winter bike. That's what I'm basically saying. This is a good bike. This is really for competing, really, and good training rides. You shouldn't be using it in the winter because it'll just, what you look after it. So that's what I'll be doing. And then get my nice wee display thing with all my things all nice, and then my bike's all nice. And so one thing at a time. Problem is sometimes you have a lot of things in your head and you build it up to the Everest thing where you just think, oh, I can't possibly get all that done, but just enjoy the process of getting everything done that you need to tick up to the list. My dad used to do that, lists. I'm not really a list person, but sometimes it's good, especially for racing. Racing lists are good. That's what I'll be doing as well, as well as having a wall calendar, so I know exactly when, what's happened, have a medium-term plan of, all right, we know what we're aiming for, we know how to tailor the training, you know. And then, so you can do that with then when you get to the race, this is another thing I would struggle with. It's like some of these escapades as well, I'll get really nervous. Travelling and all, I'm bad for getting nervous and getting all wound up. It's like, right, just have a list the night before or 2 nights before, all the things that you need. There's nothing wrong with that if it helps you. Helps calm you down. You go, right, I know I've dealt with absolutely everything. Get it all dealt with, to quote I'll not say who, but get all the difficult things done first, then you can relax. You go, we're all prepared. He who fails to prepare should be prepared to fail. Get all it done. You're all prepared and you know what you're doing. So, training, I'm keeping the high intensity. It's just like I said, I'm not, the mileage isn't up the way it was. So I'm just keeping a high intensity. And because the fitness is there. I didn't want to be doing this thing, talk about 1,000 things about the way it's all done. You want to be you didn't want to just let your fitness go to pot and then, get fit again, because you have to keep it going. If you don't train a week or two, you'll lose it all. So I want to keep a good level. It's all peaking at the right time. You don't want to train too hard at this stage of the game. It's all about you don't want to burn out and blah blah. You know the whole deal. It's the way it is. You got to increase it appropriately. So I think keep the high intensity stuff now because it's the way I'm feeling. So keep doing it. But I will be doing the Turbo Trainer half an hour every evening. But I'll be winding that. I'll probably have a week around Christmas time, a week of very little, and then we'll start implementing the training program, which will be increase mileage, and then start introducing the high intensity, and then really train specifically for the demands of the likes of the Gralic, which is roughly a 70 miler. So it's 70 mile. It's roughly 3 hours, I suppose. 3.5, 4 hours really. Depending on your fitness, because it is slower. On gravel it is slower. 70 miles on the road, you could do that in 3.5 hours, but it'll be longer in the gravel. But the point is, you start to really train specifically. That Kirkcudbright looks good in terms of road, but you've got to get plenty of gravel miles in the winter. That's what I need to be getting focused on. Just making sure at least once a week I'm out on the trails and the gravel to get that thing going, and I don't care why I'm talking about this. Who gives a fuck, but I'm just saying that's what it is. Once you start getting close to it, you've got to make sure you're properly prepared for it. Like I was talking to Terry, just one example, and then I'm going to shut the fuck up and get on to work. But in terms of what are the, you literally say to yourself, right, what are the, and I've raced these things, so I know what the demands are, right? So 70 miles, okay, so you've got to be fit, have the endurance for that. Then you've got to have the hill climb prowess, and you've got to be able to, because it's racing and going in groups, so you've got to be able to ride at threshold, and then you've got to lift it to catch the group, keep the group, ease off. Then hill climbing, so you've got to have the whole package. So what you do, you have to tailor that in the training. You have to be able to ride at your threshold, your lactate threshold, which is race pace, and you've got to go above race pace, and then be able to recover and still run at race. But that's what Bradley Wiggins pioneered. No pioneer, but they would train. You have to train at this where you're training hard, where you're just on the limit of your lactate threshold, and then it's called over and unders or something like that, where you're training at that high intensity, and then you lift it for an attack, and then be able to recover and still keep up the threshold. So it's but you wouldn't start doing that. You'd build it up in the training program to be able to do that. You'd start off by doing race pace and then do little forays into the higher intensity sprint stuff, and then you would do recovery. Then once you've ticked that box, after a certain number of weeks, you start, as I say, ramping up to ridiculous things where you're replicating race thing, where it's like training hard the whole way around and being able to lift it, and that's what I want to do. I'm feeling it at the moment. That I want to get into that, train like a pro thing properly, specifically for the demands of the race, right? But no date to the point of killing myself and burn out to the point I'm like, it's not the most important thing in the world, but do it for a laugh, see how far I can take it. Age-related gravel, anyway, have a nice day.